This is a short overview on a channeling by a spirit calling himself Yeshua, while he does not declare himself to be Jesus Christ. The topic of this channeling is the tiredness of light workers. Included in the message is some kind of a meditation that is leading the listener through a certain spiritual, imagined process. Normally, the listeners do not understand the content they listen to. Indeed, it's quite hard to understand this message properly. I have worked on that to make this meditative process visible and understandable easily. In general, this is about some power, which is also called a light or part of the soul. It is coming from the soul, which is told to be located behind the listener. One is told to imagine and feel how that energy is entering the body through the spine at a point that is called the door to the heart. Then this energy should move on downwards through the stomach to the root chakra near the coccyx and settle in there finally to stay and carry the person into a new future on a new earth with new ways of living. Actually, this is what this energy wants to do from itself, and the listener is told to accept and give up resistance, to let it go and allow. This part of the soul is called to be intelligent, instinctive, feeling, knowing, original, most advanced and creative. It's told to have a very strong drive force and aversion against any kind of laws, rules, regulations, restrictions or dogmas, especially related to religion. That shows clearly that this is a certain old entity, a powerful, freedom-loving, stubborn spirit of the highest order. It is also called to be childish, playful, creative and longing for worldly joy and pleasure. And it does not fit in our world, which is called old and ego-based, which means based on surviving, fear, control, force. Actually, this spirit, who is also called soul light, is told to be the main reason for the tiredness of the light workers, since a so-called ego-based environment is leading to a revoke of the soul energy, which is the energy of that certain unnamed entity. One should just do joyful, creative things in a setting free of rules or norms of any kind. It's recommended to stay alone regularly. Complex meditations or such practices are not needed allegedly. Actually, this process seems to be a possession with a power from a man's own microcosm indeed. And if you have some knowledge about Hinduism, you will see very clearly that all the described characteristics perfectly match with the elephant god Ganesh, who is also told to be connected to the root chakra, related to earth and the world. Next to Shiva and Kali, Ganesh is told to be the most powerful and evil spirit in existence. That means the most advanced power in terms of malignancy. So we have here uncovered a most diabolical, wicked method to lead naive, unsuspecting, trusting and probably good-natured people with an urge to develop spiritually into a top-level kind of possession. This, in a way, they themselves are responsible. The evil spirit will not allow them to focus on God and develop spiritually in a positive way. Otherwise, he will suppress and manipulate them to be weak, isolate themselves, develop an egoistic, heartless personality with addictions, searching for worldly pleasure according to the personal preferences. The aim is to gain full control and use the person to work for the evil agenda. I would say getting rid of that spirit is extremely hard and probably needs hardest pain and efforts for years or decades. Strong help will also be needed. Most people will not recognize the truth and have no chances to get free again. From my point of view, this is really a worst case scenario and I am worried so much about it. If it's so easy and legal for the negative power to do such things to us, it's probably just a matter of time until humanity is controlled by evil spirits. I urgently ask you to understand and share this information with anyone who might be interested in it. If there is a chance to prevent the worst, we have to do something. Tell the people to wake them up and defend themselves. Channelings should be listened to fully awakened and vigilant only. Do not listen in a comfortable situation like in bed or on a seat. Just make sure you are 100% awakened and never follow any instructions instantly. Just listen and make up your mind about it. Check anything before you do it or accept it. Otherwise, you might get into such a trap. Also learn to tell apart good and evil and what's positive or negative. Possessed people giving in such a demonic power might get extremely strong, attractive, powerful, successful, convincing. With charm, stealth, and eloquence, they mislead people into their spiritual ruin. We are really on a strong attack and should be on highest alert. To reach God, one has to focus on the highest part of the body, the forehead or higher. True spirituality means to be in the world without being attached to the world. Related to God, most things will be charged positively. Spiritual practices are quite basic and needed to get clean, rise and shine as a divine soul. Even if they are boring, exhausting, tiring, one has to discipline his mind and resist the pull of negative powers who always try to disturb us. Self-discipline in an acceptable way does make sense. Isolation might be necessary or helpful, but in general, we are much more powerful as a community. One has to face and overcome the opposition of the evil spirits. Otherwise, there is no chance to grow and reach God. Self-discipline in an acceptable way does make sense.